Hello. Really? Okay. Let's let me try again. I'll try it again. Okay.
There we
Hey,
go.
there he is. Hey, how are you?
Not bad, are you?
Not too bad. Thanks for joining me. I know it's late there.
That's no worries. Just got back from the rink, so
When did your day start today?
um, I don't know. I was up at 8. Uh, yeah, I was gone. Today. I was training like a minor hockey that's like an hour away, so morning wasn't too busy, and then I went there at I think 1. It's about an hour drive, and then on the ice from 2:30 till 6:30. Drive an hour home, eat quick, and then go to my practice, and yeah, done at 10:30, 11, and then drive home. And
Is that a usual day for you?
yeah, normally, like, you know, now, like, I don't like, now it's like what I play is like senior A, like semi-pro, so you only practice at like 9 at night twice a week. So one game a week usually, sometimes two. Right now because of COVID we have two, but
Okay.
um yeah, no, a lot of late nights and
Yeah.
a lot of long days. And um I've lots to keep busy, whether I'm at the rink or doing German lessons or doing lesson plans
How,
for
how I haven't talked to you. How is your German? I'm very
meine Deutsch ist okay. Ich spreche Deutsch jetzt, and
I was wondering because you've been there for a few years. I'm like, how is this German? It'd be very
yeah,
interesting to hear you, and just now, even hearing you talk German. That's cool.
yeah. Honestly, like I probably like started learning like for about a year, like truthfully. And luckily, like when I teach like I go anywhere from like under seven goalies to junior to pro. So like when I'm
Okay.
teaching the really young kids, like they don't speak English. So like I have to speak German.
Okay.
My girlfriend's German. Her parents only speak German.
Oh, so you have been and now have to
Yeah.
use
So
your
it's a
German.
good practice for me. Like me and my girlfriend, we mostly speak English because it's like that's how we met.
Okay.
But no, like there's a lot um where I have to. The coach I was with this year with the Del 2 team, like he's Canadian, so he
Okay.
doesn't speak any German. So like I was being forced to like kind of translate for him sometimes, and like to the best of my ability. And so I
Yeah,
slowly
just
getting
kind of
there.
kind of interesting, right? Because a lot of people come from Germany or Russia or Czech Republic to Canada in the U.S. to play pro
Hmm.
hockey, and they have to learn where you're the opposite, right? Having to integrate and I don't know if you've seen. So there are some people that you may know. There's some people that I may know on this. So people are coming in. So at the bottom, they could contact us, right? So I don't
Yeah,
know.
do
There's a
some talk,
Timo
Mitchell.
there. I don't know a Timo, but that might be someone that you know. So people are joining us now. So yeah, why don't we get started? So welcome,
Sure.
and really appreciate it. I know it's late at night for you. So everyone, this is Andrew Hare, professional hockey goalie. He's currently in Heilbronn, Germany.
Yeah, Elbron, yeah.
Yeah, Heilbronn, and you've been there for quite a few, four years in Heilbronn now.
Yeah, back and forth, a couple detours, but yeah,
Yeah.
mostly.
So love to have you on. We've talked outside of Instagram before, so I thought it was a great idea once you are free. I know you have a busy schedule, just to kind of go through some of the parts of your career, and mostly we'll talk about mental skills, but I think there's a lot here that we can get into, and people can comment, people can ask us questions. Hey, it's open, right? So we'll see how this goes. I have questions for you, but hey, there might be some questions and comments that we'll have to take on at the very bottom. So if you see them, let's get to them. If I see them, I'll bring them up. So for those that are
Sounds
with
good.
us, yeah, please make this as interactive as possible as we go through things.
And some other
So
people make it PG, please.
yeah. Hey, so can you? I haven't talked to you for a while. How's been this season with COVID and coming? You guys are back to playing, right? You're back to training, competing too.
It really depends on the league. So, as I said, like I'm in the fourth league now, which is basically like senior A. We have started playing, so our season's about 3 weeks in. Um, it's been good so far. Unfortunately, one team had a couple guys test positive, so they haven't been playing. Um, our fans, for us, like we normally get, 500 people normally, and then like one game we'll get 1,000, so pretty full. And it's been kind of limited now to 250,
Okay.
just to kind of keep things under control. The DL, so the top league, they have not started yet. They keep getting delayed. I personally don't think they'll play. There's just a lot of restrictions, basically like how many fans you can have, and they have very high, like higher salaries there. So a lot of teams are like, if we don't start playing, like we're just gonna get our money back for the license and call it a year because we're losing money. Like Dell 2, they're kind of in the middle. They have started like exhibition games and stuff. A couple teams have gotten Corona, and that's put a damper on things. They're supposed to start their season November 6th. It was originally supposed to be in October.
Okay.
It got pushed back. And I know now, like, especially with the team that I work for, like, they've kind of said, like, if we don't play in November, like, we're just going to pull our license because when guys come here, like, they have to get paid, right? So normally, the season starts middle of September. So normally the guys come first week of August. So they're here 6 weeks before the season starts. So it's basically like a month and a half. You're
Okay.
able to deal with it, pay them, and then the season starts and you have money coming in as a team. Where this year it's, guys came in August, September, and then the season keeps getting delayed. So these teams are having to pay without having income coming in.
Right.
And last year ended so short, like, it ended in March before a lot of teams could play playoffs, and that generates a lot of income for a lot of teams as well. So they're kind of behind the eight ball, and, some teams are avoiding bankruptcy, to be honest. And
Wow.
so it's very, it depends on the team and the organization, but it's crazy. Like, honestly, it's day to day and week to week. It's basically like, that's all you can do right now. So
What in regards to your team and other players that you know around the leagues in Germany, in Europe, what is their biggest challenge right now? Is it just the uncertainty? Is that kind of where it is, or is there challenges in
yeah,
other areas?
I would say probably the uncertainty because, as I said, normally, how we have these many home games every month. We're going to have this range of fans, which means this range of money. Um, and yeah, like, as I said, like, they're supposed to start November 6th, for example, for the second league, and it's already been pushed once. So who knows? Like, it could get pushed again, or maybe, like, right now, I believe the rule is 20% capacity.
Okay.
So for some teams, like in Heilbronn, like I think normally they get between 1,800, 2,000. If it's like a derby, like a rival game, they'll pack and get more. So there's teams like that where, maybe they rely on more sponsors for their money, but then there's teams like Frankfurt who get 6,000 fans a game, and if they're only allowed 20%,
Gotcha.
you
Okay.
know,
So
so it's,
a lot of it's based on for teams the gate, like people
mhm.
coming in is pretty important for them to sustain them having a team as being part of the league. It sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, everything
Yeah.
goes into it. Like there's, fans and, food, drink sales, and,
Right.
the Germans, they love their beer. So like that's a lot of,
Money going in or not going into concessions and yeah. So where are you in regards to your team? Is there are, are are there any things that you guys are doing that is helpful in this transition? It seems like you're a little bit ahead of the other leagues. Are there any things that you guys are doing that help kind of get you ready?
mm, I mean, we've just taken basically the precautions and, but we're hurting too. Like, because as I said, like normally when you're getting, for us, it's not a big a difference because a lot of the guys have normal jobs. So like they don't get paid to play. But
Okay.
like when you're having 500 fans normally all the time and now you're down to 200, like that's 300 people that are missing, which is money for the team. And whether that's for travel or you know, sponsors and stuff. Because obviously, like that's
Sure.
another thing that people have to keep in mind too, is like the sponsors that normally put a certain amount of money in this year, it's been kind of for the most part lowered because their businesses were taking a hit too during Corona. That gives them this money
Right.
to sponsor these teams. So, um, I think, and it's not just hockey too. It's all sports all over the world that have had to adjust and just kind of get by. Like for example, the league in England, the top league in England, they said no, we're not going to play this year. They just
Okay.
folded.
They just pulled it completely.
Yeah, and I know like so right now Germany is like the top and second German leagues are the only leagues that haven't really started in Europe other than like England being canceled. I think the Czech is on a break right now because there was a Corona outbreak. The Austria leagues are playing. They just started a couple weeks ago. Slovakia, I think, has started. Norway and Denmark have started. But there's still like you still like see when you look at scores and stuff like there's a couple teams like the home games are getting postponed because their country's
Uh,
at risk or their
gotcha.
city's at risk. So there's a
So
lot of
they're
like
trying their
there's
best, right? It sounds like they're trying. It really is what you were saying. They really are taking it day by day. Every day's, it sounds like, is something new that possibly they might have to kind of take on as a team.
yeah, it's as I said, it's day by day, it's week by week. A lot of people are having to make like on the fly adjustments. The leagues are having to make on the fly adjustments. Like I've seen,
Yeah.
for example, in the Austria League, like they have like four countries involved. So I've noticed a couple times like the one Slovakia teams had to postpone games just because I think like around there, like in Bratislava, there might be like Corona or something. Like don't quote me, but they just had a couple games postponed. I know the Italy team was postponed at the start. Now they're playing, so they've just had to like reschedule games, like whether it's on a different weekend or during the week normally.
Right.
So
Right. They're just trying to make the best out of the current situation that they can.
baby, basically. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And,
and
and
it's
someone just said that they're just letting family members attend the game.
yeah. So like as I said, so that's a Del 2 game tomorrow. They're having an exhibition game. I was actually interested in going, and then yeah, like unless you're a family
Family
member
member.
or a wife or something of
Yeah.
the players, you're not going to be allowed to go. So
Right. Right.
um, and it's funny too because like so we play at home on Sunday. Like my team plays at home on Sunday, and we're allowed fans, but this Del 2 team isn't. And so it's like
Wow.
it's honestly the rules kind of change depending on
Yeah. Who's making the rules? Pretty well.
yeah, I'm not sure like who's doing it. Like for me, I
Yeah.
think there's a safe way to do it to kind of space fans out. I know in Hellbron's rink, basically one side is like seats, and then the other side's like stands where like a lot like normally that's where all the like crazy fans are that are jumping up and down, banging drums. So they're just like
Yeah.
standing the whole game. So
Okay.
it's kind of like seats versus standing. And I know in the seats you could do every other seat, space people out, and that could get, half capacity in there. And then on the other side, they've done some stickering where you can only stand here, you can't stand here, which I think is a good idea. So I hope going forward that they continue to do that and just, you know, this year for me is just like I think if teams are smart, it's just about trying to get by and trying to
Yeah.
get some sort of regularity back because the quicker we can get over this, Corona and move forward, I think is the better because a lot of these leagues depend on this money and, we can't afford to have another year like this. So I think this year is just kind of,
And same here. So same here in regards to the in Canada and the U.S. That's from high school to college to junior hockey. It's kind of the same thing, right? So it's just trying to have practices, maybe have competition. So it's still day by day here too.
like last year when everything got canceled, like we were just in playoffs and like my team, we had just won to go to the finals. And then 2 days later, they're like, yeah, we're not playing the finals. Like it's done.
Right.
And I went home and I remember like being at home being like, okay, this will be like 2 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. Like we'll get
Right.
over this. And then
Right.
like eventually got to a point like at home being in summer, and I was just like, you know what, my summer is like, I'm just not even considering this. Like it's going to happen. Like I'm just going to take precautions and hopefully we get through this. And unfortunately it kept going, but
Hey, can we get into so and just even for people, some people are in and they know you, other people are just kind of tuning in and may not know your path, but you went from
well, how
junior
long do we
hockey,
have here? If I start?
yeah, well, junior hockey in Canada university hockey in the US,
Yep.
and then you jump from university hockey in the US to Europe,
Yep.
right?
So I've basically lived away from home for 11, 12 years.
Right.
I haven't, I was telling my girlfriend the other day, like I haven't had a Canadian Thanksgiving since 2008, 2008. Yeah. So,
And I'm sure every year is different than all the other years. But can you just kind of help? Because there might be some and people that maybe don't know, but professional hockey goalies, so you play a pretty important part of that sport. What would
mhm.
you say? What would you say has, if you can think way back when, and even currently, like what have been the biggest challenges of going from university hockey to pro hockey?
Um, well, I can think of a couple of things. I mean, obviously, as I said, like l living in the States, like you're living away from home, so that's always a bit of an adjustment. But then going to Europe, like you're a plane right away, 6 hours ahead. Like for me, I played 2 years in France, then I went to Norway, and then I've been in Germany for the past 4 or 5 years now. So English isn't the first language in all these places. I lived in some different towns. Like I lived in a ski resort for 2 years, which is awesome in the winter, but
Yeah.
from September till Christmas, it's dead. There's nothing there, nothing open. So like literally you go to practice every day and you go home and it's like 1, 2, and you're just like, what do I do the rest of the day? Because not like there's one restaurant open, one grocery store,
Wow.
the bank, like there's nothing really to do for those months. But once the winter came, it was way better. Um, yeah, when I was in Norway, I lived in the just outside of Oslo, like a small little town, and then Oslo was just a quick train right away, and it's like a big, reminded me of Toronto, like a cleaner Toronto. It was kind of cool, but again, like they know more English there, but still, like it's you don't that's a hard language to learn, and so I think one of the big things is just like being able to adapt, and every league there's different amounts of imports too. So like France, there was 10. Norway, there was me and one other guy, and Germany in the Del 2, there's four. So, and you get some guys with passports, but there's a lot of times it's you kind of feel alone, and sometimes you kind of like lean on the other imports, and you guys always do stuff together and um, stuff
Hey,
like that.
and since COVID, and it's been a few months now, we've kind of jumped on Instagram, different athletes, hockey players, football players, and I kind of asked that, especially of the pro athletes and the college athletes, like about the social support part,
Mm,
and almost all the athletes have talked about the importance of trying to get support wherever you are, be it you went from high school to university, you're going from university and you're high amateur, maybe on an Olympic path, and you're moving away from home, but everyone said the same thing, or close to everyone, the importance of finding the right support.
yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, no matter what you do, if you want to be the best or you want to keep moving up, there's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be, the next step. But you're always going to perform better if you feel comfortable, and you have to find a way to feel comfortable, whether it's through teammates, through a coach, your girlfriend or wife with you, and you have a dog with you or something, like just keeps you kind of like at normal sometimes. Like I think that's a big thing. And I've had years where I've come into a team halfway through the year, and I've had years where I've been replaced halfway through the year and had to go to a new team. And so I've kind of had all the ups and downs of it. And, I don't think anyone's perfect at it. Like I've had some instances where I fit right in right away. You wouldn't even have noticed I was new. And then I've had instances where you could tell that I wasn't fully there, like something was wrong, kind of stuff like that. And I think it's just about, finding a way to get through it. Obviously, like, working with you, like I think helped me. When I was younger, I was always very strong mentally. And then I kind of had a rough start to college, and that kind of just drained my confidence. And um, I was able to recover from that. And then even like when I after my third year pro, I'd had a really good year and I couldn't get any offers, and I was kind of like, am I done, or I have to restart and go somewhere I don't want to go? And I remember just like working with you, and luckily I got a deal to go to Germany, and I had my best year ever in pro. And um, I just remember that year, like I just had fun and I didn't worry about anything. If I had a bad game or a bad goal, let go in, like it was just you wouldn't have noticed. Like,
Yeah.
it didn't matter if it was a breakaway or if they scored from the other end. Like, it was just a goal and it was gone out of my mind after it went in. And get back to your net and it's get ready for the next shot. And, I think that's why I did so well is because I didn't really let things get to me that year. So,
Right. But as you're saying, and just through your career, that you have to work on. One is, I think you have to kind of acknowledge that it's uncomfortable. Like, and again, your examples are like new team, new situation. It could be COVID. You almost have to work at the being uncomfortable, right? Even
yeah,
outside of the ice arena, in it, like it's never. And this is across like athletes at a high level and in sport. Like, it's never a smooth ride. Like, anyone that says it's a smooth ride is like, come on, now you're lying. Like, or something must have happened, because I don't think there was ever a year where it's a totally smooth ride. And I think you have to work on, especially as a pro, to get there and to stay there, work on being uncomfortable. Like, I think it's just part of the deal.
yeah. And I think a big importance is just, you know, those 3, 4 hours you're at the rink, like your mind needs to be there and focus on it. And whether you have a good day or a bad day, like when you leave the rink, it's just do something, get away from it. That was one thing when I was struggling, I didn't do. I just would like dread like what I did that day and just kind of dwell on it and be like, oh my God, like what a bad game. Like, why did I do that? Why did I do this on this play? Like, and you just beat yourself up and, eventually it just wears on you and you feel like you can do nothing right. And as a goalie, like it's such a mental position. And not even like you don't even have to like think confidence sometimes. You just have to show confidence. Like players, teams see when you're not feeling it. And I'm an emotional person. I wear my heart on my sleeve. Like when I'm having a good day, you see it. When I'm having a bad day, you see it. And
Mhm.
for me, the big thing was trying to hide that. And some days I couldn't. And as I said, I would come home and I'd be thinking about stuff instead of just letting it go and being like, the good thing about like pro hockey is you play 2, 3 games a week normally. So normally you got another game coming in a day or two, so you can get over it quick and just move on and forget about what happened. And, part of it was definitely like my fault of just being super negative and continuing to think about it. And instead of just moving on and enjoying, like my dad said something to me, and my relationship with my dad, like how it's been. And like he said to me one time, like you're gonna look back on this journey and you're gonna wish so like that you enjoyed it more. And when he said this to me in like my first or second year in France, and I was just like, yeah, okay, like thinking this is gonna last like
Right.
12, 15 years. And I played, I'd say professionally 7 years, parts of 7 years. And I look back and I'm like, oh man, it flew. And yeah, he was right. Like I'm not saying I'd continue to be playing, but I'm just saying like you definitely would have like enjoyed it a little more, just like realizing like how special this is, like where I've come from, how many goalies there are on a team, like to be an import goalie in certain leagues that have 4 imports in general, and you're a goalie, to play in a finals, always like sometimes my mind goes to the negative right away. Like that's just what I see, and
Yeah.
that's just my personality, I guess. And as I said, my dad said, you lived in Europe, you've lived in some great places, some great countries, you've been able to travel, and not many people can say they did that. So,
But
that's one thing I think about.
but as you mentioned that, and kind of thinking about just our conversation, like, it's you giving back, right? From right now, like you saying that, who knows, from a goalie to a player in hockey, but any sport, when things maybe aren't going well, they could think back to what you said or what we're saying and going, yeah, I gotta, just like you did with your dad, right? Like, I think it's all like, it could be something you read, it could be someone that says something, it could be a different experience where you kind of reflect on and go, okay, maybe I can do it differently, right? And that's what because you are active, you're still playing high level, like you're taking these, and it's not to say you won't be critical, you won't be negative, but then you have these little things that help you get back to where you want to get to a little bit quicker, right? And I think this is wonderful what you're doing and we're doing, because you never know when someone clicks that play button and goes, okay, maybe I should take that time off in between games, maybe to just put it aside, or maybe I should think about what I've done so far in my career or my year. So But I appreciate it. I think that's great words as you're reflecting back. Some awesome words of wisdom that hopefully people who are listening right now, but someone who plays this in the future will take away and go, yeah, right. And this is coming from a pro.
Yeah, and it's not like I'm not saying it's gonna, if you take my advice, it's always gonna be good and you're always gonna feel better. It's just I think in the long run, as I said, you want to just let go and kind of enjoy what you're doing because you never know how long it's gonna last. As I said, I was thinking when I was doing so well, I was like, oh, like I keep progressing, like I'm gonna get to this level, I'm gonna get to this level, and like I'm thinking too far ahead instead of just
Yeah.
enjoying the ride and maybe putting a little pressure on myself and I'm happy where I like one of my goals was to play in the Del 2. Like I always wanted to play in Germany. I made it. I played there parts of 3 years, played in the finals. So um, for me that's pretty successful. And now I'm able to work here and I've worked 2 years now in the Del 2 as a goalie coach and assistant coach. And um, so there's always a way to still stay involved and
Right. Right.
I just have a new journey now is the way I look at it.
I love that. I love that. Hey, can you, there's a couple of moments I want just to get your thoughts on. So one would be joining a pro team maybe halfway through and that pressure that comes with joining a team. And then the second one is joining a team that's been around all year and you join them in the playoffs and the pressure that comes. Are those two from you that come to mind that I know you lived it, but I think people have to hear, how do you take on the pressure of joining a team and performing the best of your abilities?
Um, well, I guess I'll answer each one. I mean, I like pressure, at least in hockey. Like, I think, as a goalie, there's always going to be pressure, and like, at the end of the day, you have to do well in those moments. And throughout my career, I've had a knack for doing really well in big games, big moments. And I remember when I joined Heilbronn in the Del 2, like halfway through the year, like they were second last and kind of struggling, like couldn't really find themselves. And the first game was against the third place team who'd won the championship the year before. And I remember getting there and I remember being nervous. Like I'm normally not nervous. And I'm like, oh man, like this is a big one. And like, but I was like excited at the same time, like just so happy. Like I'd made it to the L2. Like, that was one of my goals. And I remember like we won 3-2 in overtime. I had like 45 saves or something. Like I just played amazing. And I just remember like seeing like how the place went crazy when we won, and I was like, wow, this is German hockey. And I was able to continue that all year and have an unbelievable playoffs. And so that was, you just feel good when you're able to help the team. I think, I've always been a team guy and then myself second. So I think at the end of the day, when the team was winning, that's good. And I was also able to have success off the team winning individually. So I think like that was a bonus. Like, yeah, I'm doing well. And I was able to sign a contract back there and everything, so that was good.
Can I
And then
ask you,
yeah,
how do you get ready? Like even let's bring it back before that game. So the one where you join the team halfway through, like you're a Canadian goalie going overseas. There's only so many positions, but then the spot opens up, and
yeah.
you're
So
bring us through that, kind of getting ready for just taking on that opportunity.
honestly, it was a crazy 48 hours basically. So I was playing in the SPHL with my buddy in Fayetteville. I'd gone there, I'd been there for 2 weeks, and like it was kind of like one of those things I said, like I was kind of restarting, was just hoping to have a good year. And then maybe I'd go back to France the next year. Like I was just like, maybe I can only get to France. Like it is what it is. This team called me, called my agent. He called me. He's like, "Can you get on a flight tomorrow?" And I'm thinking he's joking because we've talked to this team for like 5 months and they just haven't budged. And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, for sure." And I just like hung up the phone, like not even thinking about it. I'm going to bed. My parents call me. Hey, like you have to pack your stuff and be ready in case this contract comes. So I go to practice next morning. I'm all packed. I get off the ice. I get a phone call. Okay, you got to get to Toronto and get on a flight tonight, go to Germany. So like it was a busy day doing that. I literally get there Thursday morning. I don't even practice with the team. We play Friday, so all I have is a sleep that night. I have a morning skate with these guys, and I go right into the game. So it's like, and I'm busy, like in those 2 days, I'm busy doing like signing like my visa, my license to play. Like we're
Yeah.
pulling all strings to get me in as quick as possible. And yeah, so I think like that probably had a little bit to do with it. Like it just went so quick that like you didn't have time to think. Like you just had
Gotcha.
like I was in a hotel. I just literally just did my routine, jumped right into a game. We played Friday, Sunday. So like I just got thrown into it. And I remember like, I'm not, it's funny. Like I never really was like that good of a practice goalie. I just like, for me, it was more like just getting in position. And like a lot of times, like I wouldn't go down. Like that was just who I was. And some coaches understand it because they'll see me in a game and I played well. And other coaches didn't understand it. That's just life. But I remember like one of the guys on the team, like Kevin Lavalley, like he told me after the weekend, man, he's like, honest to God, I thought we were gonna get killed because you look so bad in pregame skate. I'm just like, I'm like, oh, thanks, man. Like,
Thanks, Ed. Thanks for keeping
but
it
that's just
private.
like, it was just like, it was just, I really relished the opportunity. I played in a lot of big games before, a lot of high pressure situations, and as I said, I was living my dream. So like, so that was that.
That's nice though, and I want, and even those last few parts together are helpful, right? Because there are some younger athletes who are probably with us or will listen to this. Is that one thing is that you were excited to play. Number two, you've been there before, right? Not there before, but you had other big games that you can rely on, right? So it wasn't your
Mhm.
first time, even though it was different. That you can rely on what you've done before to help you where you are. I think that's
Yeah,
pretty darn important to remember for everyone. For everyone.
and then the finals year, like, I signed back in the Dell too. Didn't really go my way. I was up and down. I got released. I went to Norway briefly. Didn't I went to We weren't very good in Norway, so it was kind of a bad experience. I was really mentally down. Um, my dog actually died too when I was there, so it was kind of like I went home for the Olympic break in February, and I was like debating on going back. Like my parents, I was like I don't want to go back. Like this, it's miserable, and but it was at the same time I was like, hey, if you don't go back, you're gonna be done. So I went back, and within like 3 days of being there, like a Del 2 team was looking for a goalie, and I'm like, oh my God, if I could get this, like
Yeah.
it'd be amazing. And I ended up luckily like at the day of the deadline, I got the deal, flew there, but it was to be like the third goalie, like in case like there was an injury, like just for playoff re like insurance. So I was basically just practiced for the first six
Okay, so
weeks.
you're the third. You're the insurance, the third goalie as they go into the playoffs.
As I go in the playoffs, like there was one weekend left in the season, so two games. I dressed one as a backup, and then like I literally like was just practicing. I had to go to every away game and bring my gear in case like the guy got sick or hurt in warm up.
Yeah.
Um, we had an affiliation with a Dell team, so the second goalie was up in the Dell, so we had just a junior. And then yeah, it's funny, like the goalie who was the number one there, he's actually here in Heilbronn now. And so we like I know him and he's a good goalie and unfortunately for him, but good for me, like he got hurt randomly. Like we were in the second round, we were down 2-1 in the series and we were just at practice and he went on the ice stretched and then he left and I was like, oh, I guess he's tired, like whatever. Like the second round you're playing every other day.
Yeah.
So and next morning I get a call, the coach's like, yeah, you're playing tonight. Like I haven't played a game in 8 weeks, and like I'm like, okay, here we go. Like here we go. Like I just knew. I texted my parents. I'm like, because we have a routine. Like when I play,
Yeah.
like they text me something. I text them at like 3 in the morning their time. I'm like, I'm playing, and then like so then the routine starts, and first game get a shutout.
Wow.
Um,
So okay, like even bring it like help us bring us through that because you haven't played for 8 weeks, had up and downs that whole year, just kind of from different teams and but now you're in the playoffs, second round, correct? At this
yeah.
point,
So the semifinals. Yeah.
semifinals, and then you get the call. So
Yeah.
help us with that routine. How do you probably are kind of getting ready, and it's a new situation. How do you get ready?
To me, it's just another game day.
Okay, so you stepped in the
Honestly, like I didn't do anything. I just did my routine. Um, I I believe we played away that day, so like I can't remember if we have a morning skate or not. But it's like when I got to Germany, it's just all so quick. Like I just did my routine. I know like I'm a gamer, like that's me. I know I'm gonna play well. Like in my head, I'm like I'm calm, I'm relaxed, like whatever. And you could see you guys on the bus like kind of nervous because they know how I am in practice, and they're kind of like like this team was in like first or second to end the year, and now the first round went to 7 against the
Yeah.
ninth place team. So they're kind of like, oh man, like this could end. Like and I just remember like seeing guys nervous, and I'm laughing in my head like, guys, it's fine. Like, don't worry. So I get a shutout the first game in their barn to make it 2-2. Go back home, we win in overtime 3-2. And then game 6, the guy from the Dell comes back down, so he plays, we win. And then like the starter's out for the playoffs, and then the Dell team is in the playoffs too, so they take that goalie back. So I play the whole finals.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we lost 4-1 in the series, but it was such a close series. Like we had 3 or 4 games that were like 2-1 or 3-2, and like it was just like the team we played, they were just once they got a lead, they really just knew how to hold on to
Okay.
it. They were in the finals like 7 years in a row and won twice, and
Okay. So they were a contender at that time for a long time. It seems like your
yeah,
teams were the top teams in that league.
yeah. So like if perfect world, if I would have won, I think that would have been like just a cherry on top of the crap year that I had had, just up and down. But still a great experience, and I played well. Um, you know, at the end of the day, if you can give your team a chance to win every night and at least keep them in the games, like I believe I did that, and the coach was really happy with me at the end of the year. He just,
Sure.
he told me, he's like, if we didn't have you, we never would have gone this far, and what you had to do, and like you said, come to a new team basically in March. So they've been
Right.
together for 8 months. I'm the new guy, like, I'm living at a hotel, just kind of, I don't know, like I just kind of just
But here's a couple.
bided my
But even
time.
a couple. Just even a couple things. One is the one you said last. Like you still stayed open to opportunity, which is tough, right? And again, kind of being a part of this, playing the same position at one time, like it's tough. It's tough to bide your time, right? But there is something about patience and persistence that's extremely important because you never know when that opportunity comes.
Yeah, it was honestly, it was so tough because, any athlete who knows what a third goalie is, like you're basically a target. So you have to do all the extra stuff. You have to stay, do all the stuff after practice. And, I'd gone from being a starter my whole career to this, and you're just like some days you're like, you're getting hit in the face and you're just like you have to take it. And you're also just kind of like, was this worth it? Should I have just stayed with the other team, played, and then gone home? Like I would have been home by now. You see all your friends at home and you're not playing. And yeah, like and like I don't wish an injury upon anybody, but I honestly believe in like fate and stuff. And I think that, whether it's God or whatever, like they was just like giving me a break for the up and down year I'd had and the stuff that I
Right.
had to go through earlier in the year. And
But it's still
you know,
getting through those hard moments to get you ready for those opportunities is key, right?
oh
I
yeah.
think that it's challenging, really challenging. Hey, and this is for everyone that's listening to us. If you all have questions, throw some questions out there in the comments area. So if you have them, throw them out there. We got some more questions to go through, but if you have them for us, you let us know. So now you mentioned earlier you're transitioning to coaching last couple of years.
hmm
So question for you from the coach's side and then the player side, because you're doing both. As a coach now, what skills, maybe more mental skills, do you look for in the people that you coach? Because you coach high level adults, males, professionals, and then you coach the younger kids too.
hmm
So what do you look for now, the coach's eye, in regards to the mental skills piece?
Well, I think at like the professional level, like, and I'm gonna quote Brian Burke here. Uh, he basically said that like when he's scouting or when he was a GM or whatever, like there was 3 tools he used. First was like his own eyes, like seeing the player, how they play on the ice game, whatever. The second was they would do like kind of like a background check, like family, how he is as a teammate, how he is as a person, blah blah blah. And then nowadays, like you've seen analytics that's just like pumped into the hockey world. So that would be like the third tool. And I always thought that was cool because now everybody's thinking that analytics should be number one, and to me, I don't think that'll ever happen because you can be analytically good, but if you can't perform on the ice, or you can be analytically bad, but you could be doing good things on the ice. So I think like it should be the third tool. And like for me, like I just, we when we were like looking at players, we would like, we call and be like, well, how is he as a guy? How is he in the room? What's his attitude like? There's a lot. The big thing is you want chemistry in the room. You want guys to like each other. You want to go to war for each other. You don't want guys bickering at each other. And I've been in locker rooms where we've had both, like where we've had a good locker room, and I've been in locker rooms where you've kind of had groups and some guys that stand out. So that's definitely something we do a lot of stuff. Like we call ex-coaches, ex-players, and I'd probably say we talk to 5 to 10 people before making a decision on a
Right.
player. Um,
So what you're saying, like that bigger character piece is important for you
I,
all as a coaching staff on and off the ice.
I think so. Like
Yeah.
if I was, my dream job is to be like a general manager, or what they called over here as a sport manager, like build the teams. And I've done university for that. I have a degree in GMing. I have a degree in sport analytics. Just kind of extra stuff to stay involved and kind of learn more. And for me, like, I want to like just kind of make my own path and kind of take little points from here and here based on like what I saw when I was playing, what I liked, what I didn't, and what I've seen as
Yes.
coaching, what I liked, what I didn't, what I liked in this course, what I liked in this course. I kind of just put it together to kind of create my own like strategy, I guess you would say, or mentality for how I would build a team. Obviously in Germany it's really different because there's not a salary cap, only 4 imports. A lot of it over here is based, I think, is imports they're very important, but there's also a lot of imports out there where in the second league in Germany, if you can get like German passport players or full German players that want to be on your team, like they're the core, like they're
Right.
definitely the tight group that you want to have around. And the teams that, like the team I worked for last year was the Beacon Steelers. That's the team I lost to in the finals, and that was in the finals for 7 years straight or whatever, 5 years straight. And they had a core group of guys that just came back every year. There wasn't really like an increase in salary. Like it was just they got other benefits by living there 12 months, and they just were treated well, and they wanted to come back and wanted to win. And that's how in leagues like this out in Europe where everybody's budget fluctuates and is so spread out, like that's how
So
you
so talent
survive.
talent talent is still important, but there's other variables that you have to work with to be able to put that team together successfully.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's that's my belief. And I hope one day that I can, you know, be an assistant manager or whatever and help build teams and kind of see the day-to-day basis. Over here, you need to be fluent in German to be a sport manager, so that's kind of another thing. But you know, I hope, like, as I said, I want to stay involved in hockey, but
Sure.
then again, if it doesn't happen, like I do have a business degree, so I can use that hopefully here or in Canada. So
Hey, with the coaching piece and still playing, do you find the coaching helps you as a player? Like the coaching side helps you as a player now
mm,
at all?
you definitely respect coaches more, that's for sure. It is if you want to be successful, you do have to put a lot of hours in, like a lot of video. As I said, like talking to agents all the time, like evaluating your team all the time, dealing with injuries. You know, so I think I definitely, and I see the game from a different view. I mean, being a goalie, you see it from a different view in general, and
Sure.
then being a coach, you see it from a different view as well. And um, I think that's just the biggest difference. And I know I'm not like I'm a basically a rookie when it comes to coaching. I'm 2 years in here, and there's definitely stuff that I'm not familiar with in terms of how to do certain stuff. There's stuff I think I have strengths in. There's stuff that I have weaknesses in that I want to learn and get better at. And I think for me, that's the big goal for me is just to keep learning, from different coaches because every coach has a different view on things, a
Sure.
different playing style, different systems. So that's something that I take pride in is just learning from different coaches. So far, I've had 2 great coaches that I've learned from, and they've taught me lots. And you write stuff down. You see drills you like, you write it down, you put it in your computer. You know, when you talk, you just ask questions. Like, you know, like for me, like I don't think there's a dumb question. Like if I was a 15-year coach and someone asked me a question, whether it's basic or, you know, not basic, like to me, it's
Still a
they
valid
want to
question.
learn. They want to learn. Like,
Yeah.
and if you can explain it to them, like, hey, like, and that's like last year was my first year, and I was lucky to have a great guy who just kind of took me under his wing, and you know, he taught me a lot, and I always asked him stuff just because, you know, you play so long and you don't think
Sure.
about having to do this. And to be honest, like as I said, I wanted to be a manager. I never wanted to be a coach. A goalie coach is fine, but like an assistant
Right.
coach or possibly a head coach, never in my life I wanted to do that. Like I was like, no. And I did it. I stepped in last year at just a rare circumstance where they needed someone. And I kind of liked it. Like, you know, obviously there's more pressure, and when stuff
Yeah.
doesn't go well, like you take the heat, but you know, it keeps you, it's kind of like you're playing the game. Like you get adrenaline, you know,
Yeah.
I was controlling the defense. So like I had controlled like, you know, who goes on the ice, power play, penalty kill, like shifts, blah, blah, blah for them. So it was kind of like, you know, your adrenaline's still going. Like you're like, you know, you got to make quick
Yeah.
decisions and,
I can tell that.
you know,
I can honestly tell that in your just as you explain it, like you're motivated to just learn this part
oh yeah,
and staying open to it, right? Like you're saying, like it kind of not fell into your lap, but it was just an opportunity that you took that, and I can tell that you're finding excitement in learning that. Call it a position, right? It's a coaching position,
hmm
but it's a position within a team um, to help that team win, which is
no,
cool.
and
Which is
as I
cool.
said, staying involved in hockey is, you know, whether it's on the coaching front or the business side of it. You know, or the sports industry in general. Like I love sports. I have a passion for that, and I think at the end of the day, if you do something for a living that you have a passion for, you're gonna do better at it and put a lot more into it than doing something
Yeah.
you're not into. You know, my dad's in the food business. He's done very well. I respect him a lot. His work ethic is crazy. Um, and for me, like I think there's always gonna be an opportunity there for me, but you know, right now I have a bigger passion for sports, and I want to really
Right.
try hard at this. There's not that many goalie coaches over in Germany compared to like Canada. You know, like in Canada, there's one every kilometer.
A lot. Yes.
Um,
No.
Here,
There's quite a few.
there's not as many. So like I've tried, you know, slowly making my way up here. Been fortunate to work with two pro teams so far. So it's just, and it's about who you know, networking, people
Sure.
seeing you, liking what you do, and you know, I think too that people, you know, I would say like admire me, like trying to like, you know, I'm in a country where I don't speak the language and I have to learn. And I've done so far, I say I've done all right. Like I still have a ways to go, but you know, I take the challenge on. Like it's funny. Like I talked to my mom the other day, and I was like, yeah, I never do anything easy. Like I could easily just go to Canada where it's English, but no, I'm gonna go to another country and
But
like
that's always been in knowing you for a few years. That's always been almost kind of say it's a little bit of conflict. Like it's like, man, it feels a certain way, but I'm gonna take it on.
yeah.
And you've always done that, including this. Hey, can I ask you, and for those who are still on with us, if you wanna, hey, throw out some questions because we're gonna slowly kind of. I got one question left, but if you have questions, you let us know in the
Well,
comment
I
section.
saw in your questions you sent me, you wanted to ask about how it was different in the summer for training too. So,
Yeah, and more so, like as you talk about, like from your hockey lens, your coach lens, now the GM lens, in regards to and we're bringing this as part of headset, and you've kind of know a little bit about it. Like, where do you kind of see headset and a product like headset for today's athlete?
well, I think it's very important. Like, you know, and when you would relate to this too, when you were playing, like we grew up in a time where if you seemed mentally weak, it basically meant like you couldn't hack it and you were a baby and whatever. And I don't think of it that way. I think everybody just, whether it's doing some exercises on headset to just kind of slowly bring confidence or progress your mental strength uh, in whatever it is, or even like, you know, when we would meet up, like it was just nice to talk to someone and
Yeah,
express like someone who knows hockey or knows being an athlete. Like it was just nice to talk to someone to be like this. He understands what I'm going through. He'll give me some non-biased advice because normally when you talk to like friends or family, they're either going to tell you like basically what you want to hear, or sometimes it's a truth that you don't agree with. And with you, I just felt like it was, as I said, it was non-biased, but it was someone that knew the industry, had experience with it, and you can talk about it. Like we tried stuff, and some stuff I didn't agree with, and I didn't like doing with you, and then other stuff I saw its benefit, and it helped me. And I think that's it too. Is it's not going to be the same for everybody. Like someone's going to try something, it's going to work for them, and someone else is going to try it and be like, no, this didn't really do anything for me. And then it's about
Yeah.
adapting to that person because everyone is different. And
Yeah.
um,
And I'll
I
be and
really,
I'll be honest to you and mention this to you. I know we're far away from each other here, but just mention this to you. I knew there are times where what we talked about, you left with, and maybe you didn't agree with it then, and maybe you didn't agree with it, but you still went away with it, and you went, okay, let me think about it.
mhm.
And for clients that I have, for people on headset, I love that. I like that more than someone that says, okay, let me just whatever you say. That person who looks at me and goes, all right, let me get back to you. I do. And it's no, I'm like, awesome. Because that person is thinking about it and then they're going to make it their own if they think those parts are important.
Well,
I
everybody
love it.
processes information differently. Like I know with me, like sometimes, like I need a little time to think about something, to think about it clearly. Because sometimes in the moment, like you could be having a bad day and you're in a bad mood and you're just like, no, no, like yeah, whatever. And then you think about it a couple hours later when you've calmed down or when you're thinking more clearly and you're like, oh, okay, I can see that. Like so, I think for me that's definitely me. Like I need time to process stuff,
Yeah.
to think clearly sometimes. And I know like yeah, we would meet up and a couple hours later I would kind of be like, okay, I get it. Like, I remember like when I was playing in that summer league and we were talking, you were like, "Hey, I want you to write three things you do good every night and one thing you do bad in every game." And I'm just like some nights I'm like struggling. I'm like, "Well, I sucked, so what did I do good?" And
Right,
you're just
right.
like you're trying to,
It's hard because you're getting as a goalie. If people don't, you're getting scored on. Like you
oh yeah,
are picking pucks out of your net. There's no denying that.
no, and you're the last line of defense, and at the end of the day, you're either the hero or the guy that lost it. Like that's how you're always going to be viewed. Like sometimes, well, the team didn't play that well, but at the end of the day, you still could have maybe stopped one or two or done this better. Like there's always stuff you can be critical on, but no, I think anyone who's interested in something like this, that they should give it a try. And yeah, don't think that because you do this, it means you're mentally weak. Like if anything, I think it gives you an advantage because there's going to be
Right.
people who deal with stuff alone and just kind of stay with themselves, and you're going to have a tool that helps you get stronger and overcome things easier, and that's just going to progress your journey, you know, faster, and maybe it'll make it last longer too. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. I hear you. And just even the last thing for me is in regards to you is that, and maybe relating it back to like the mental skills training is that you have to use this during, I think during a season, but when things are challenging, sometimes it's that little that just get you ready for that next opportunity, right? Because
no,
it's never always in a straight line, right? There are going
no,
to be those times where
for
you go down.
for sure. I remember. I honestly, it's upstairs right now, but the one book you gave me, like I take it with me every year, and like it just sometimes like when you're just feeling down, I would just read it, and it just gives you like that you can do this mindset. Um, and for example, like this summer, like when I went home, like nobody predicted COVID lasting this long. Like it changed everybody's routine. Like I was working out in the basement with my mom 4 times a week, um, using the limited weights we had and the limited space we had, just so I could try to stay in shape. Because I'm like, who knows? Like this could start on time, or we could start in December. So and gyms weren't open, and that like for all athletes, like they had mentally had to adjust, and they had to adjust all the routines this summer just to try to get by and stay in shape because at any minute you could get a call like, hey, you got to get on a plane tomorrow, like we're starting
I
training
love
camp
it.
in one
I
week.
love it because that's what I want people as they listen to this. if they're live or after just play, you got to get yourself an opportunity just in case, right? Because if you put yourself in that position, there might be that opportunity, and then you're ready, and that's what you've taken on for those examples you gave. Plus, there's so many more in regards to your career playing hockey that you got yourself in a position to be ready, right? And
Well,
that's
you don't want to, like, for me, the way I look at it is you don't want to have a regret. So I didn't want to take this summer off being like, oh, it's COVID, like there's no season, and then it happens. Like I remember, I forget, I was listening to an interview, I forget who it was, and they were an NHL player, and they were talking about the 2012, 2013 lockout where they only played half the season. Like they didn't start till December. They had that 48 game shortened season.
yeah,
And they were saying like, yeah, I didn't train because I was like, no, there's no way we're playing. So I was just like drinking, hanging with my friends all the time, like doing this. And all of a sudden I had to go to training camp and I was 10 pounds heavier from all the beer I was drinking or whatever. Like, so like I always looked at it like I'd rather put in the work and then it not work out or like it not happen than to not put in the work and be put in a situation where, because you never want to go somewhere feeling like you just know in your head, like, okay, like I didn't train this summer, like how am I going to get through this? Like just find a way, find a way. Like I don't think that's a terrible mindset to have, and you're kind of
yeah,
behind the eight ball. And like I would rather be prepared for it. So like this year, like I didn't even know if I was going to play. I had a lot of up and downs this summer actually with the team I'm on. It was a pretty crazy roller coaster, but I just kept training because I was like, you know what, like keeps me in shape and it keeps me ready in case I want to play. And I ended up getting back here and we've played and things have gone really well so far. So
awesome. And even you, as you're mentioning that, it kind of isn't even for our top, right? It's 12:30 at night, your time. Like, I just appreciate you. It's been a long day, and every time we're able to talk, I really appreciate it, and thanks for making the time today.
yeah, no problem at all. Anything I can do to help. And
Yeah,
yeah, anyone who watches this or whatever, like, Haresy31 is my handle on Instagram. You can feel free to reach out to me and talk to me about any situations. And, I'm here to help because I just feel like, even though my journey is like coming to an end in a sense in terms of playing and my coaching career is just beginning, if I can help people and give them my opinion and kind of steer them in the right direction, as I said, I've been through, I've played junior, I've played Team Canada, I've played both NCAA D1, D3, I've played in all types of pro leagues in Europe, pro in North America, been all around. So like I've kind of experienced a lot of it, and me.
I'll put your handle up, and I thank you, and I'll mention that to people just in my write up too. That if people want to reach out to you, and I appreciate it. I think they'll appreciate it too, just being able to spend a little bit of time with you.
Yeah, you said just put my Instagram. You have my number, my email. Like it doesn't matter. Everyone's on their phone these days, so I'll answer pretty fast. So
Awesome, buddy. Thank you. We're coming down. We got like a minute left. So yeah, thanks again for taking the time. Good luck this season. I'll be checking in with you. Check in with me too if you have the chance. I know you're super busy, so just wishing you the best.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate
Awesome.
it. Yeah, we'll be in touch.
All right. Take care. All right, everyone.
Cheers, guys.
See ya. Bye-bye.